Hello friends, this is Ritu Gupta. I am sure you must have seen the first part of the algebraic expressions. So today we'll be taking up the next part of it, and we'll see how multiplication and division are performed on algebraic expressions. So let's first do a quick recap on what we've done in the part 1, and then we'll move on to the new operations. So first is defining an algebraic expression as an expression which is built by combining numbers and variables, which could be in the form of alphabets and symbols using arithmetic operators. The example is 5x plus 3y plus 4. And the components of algebraic expressions are terms, variables, constants, and coefficients. So an example, 2x squared plus 3xy plus 9, we see that there are three terms. We have 9 as the constant term, we have two coefficients and two variables x and y. The terms of an algebraic expression could be like or unlike terms depending upon the algebraic factors. The expression could be monomial, binomial, or polynomial depending upon the number of terms and the exponent of the variable. Value of an expression can be calculated if the value of variables is provided. Expression may be added or subtracted from another expression. Expressions and the calculations around them are very useful in our daily life. Now we'll move on to multiplication and division on the algebraic expression. So friends, let's first look at the multiplication of the algebraic expressions. Now first of all, we'll take the simplest form of algebraic expression, which is monomial. So we'll take two monomials to be multiplied because that will be the simple product, the simplest product possible between the two expressions. Now when we take two monomials and we multiply them, the product is simply the multiplication of the numeric coefficients and the multiplication of the different variables which are present in one or more monomials. Now, if the same variable is present in more than one monomial, then we need to add the exponents of that variable from all the monomials to get the final product. So let's take an example and see how do we actually do that multiplication. So we take three monomials to be multiplied, the first one being 2x raised to power 6, y raised to power 4, z raised to power 5. And the second being minus 3x raised to power 7, y raised to y, z square. And the third being 8x, y raised to power 9, z. And when we try to multiply them, first of all, we'll just multiply the coefficients of these three monomials, which makes it 2 into minus 3 into 8. And now, looking at the variables which are present in these three monomials, x is a variable which is present in all three of them. So we just add the exponents of all the monomials for variable x. So we get x raised to power 6, which is coming from the first monomial, 7 which is coming from the second monomial, plus 1 which is coming from the third monomial. So similarly for y, we do the same thing. 4 which is coming from the first monomial, the power of y in first monomial is 4, 1 which is coming from the second monomial, and 9 which is coming from the third monomial. So we add them to get the final exponent for variable y in the final product. And then similarly we do it for z, which is 5 plus 2 plus 1. So the product of these three given monomials will be minus 48 into x raised to power 14 into y raised to power 14 into z raised to power 8. Now for performing multiplication, that was the simplest multiplication that we performed for algebraic expressions, that was monomial multiplied with the monomial. Now if we want to perform multiplication for expressions which could have more than one term, so we'll put both the expressions in brackets with or without a multiplication sign between them. So note that it does not matter whether we put a multiplication sign between the expression 1 and expression 2 or we don't put it, it means the same. So we need to then use the distributive property of multiplication over addition and subtraction, which says a multiplied by within brackets b plus c is equal to a multiplied by b plus b multiplied by c. So we're going to use this distributive property of multiplication over addition and subtraction to get the final product. Let's see how we'll do that. Now, first of all, we'll see how we do that in an arithmetic operation. So if we have an arithmetic operation of the type 5 plus 3 into 4 plus 7, these are the two numbers to be multiplied, but the numbers are in the form of addition of two numbers. So now let's see what we'll do for that. Using the distributive property, we'll make it 5 plus 3 multiplied by 4 and then 5 plus 3 multiplied by 7, and we'll then add the 2. So, and then again we'll apply the distributive property to make it 5 multiplied by 4 plus 3 multiplied by 4, and to the second part we'll say 5 multiplied by 7 and 3 multiplied by 7. So we'll use the same method of multiplication to the algebraic expressions now. So let's now replace by 5 by x, 3 by y, 4 by z, 7 by w, and in this expression now becomes we want to calculate x plus y multiplied by z plus w, and let's see how we'll do that. Now we apply distributive property as we've done in the previous example, so it makes it x plus y multiplied by z plus x plus y multiplied by w. And let's apply distributive property again, and that makes it x multiplied by z plus y multiplied by z plus x multiplied by w plus y multiplied by w, and which the final product becomes xz plus yz plus xw plus yw. Now this product should be further simplified by combining all the like terms wherever possible. Let's now see how do we multiply different algebraic expressions with multiple terms. In the above example, we've just considered a binomial for demonstration purposes. Now we'll see how we can extend the same method to polynomials with any number of terms. Let's take two polynomials. First with n terms, small t1, t2 till tn, and the second polynomial with m terms named capital T1, T2 till Tm. Now if you want to find out the product of these two polynomials, the result would look like small t1, which is the first term of the first polynomial, multiplied by the complete second polynomial, which is capital T1 plus T2 till Tm, plus the second term of the first polynomial, which is small t2, multiplied by capital T1 plus capital T2 till Tm, and so on till we multiply the last term of the first polynomial, which is small tn, with the whole second polynomial, which is capital T1 plus capital T2 till Tm. So this will be the product of two polynomials with n and m terms each. Now let's move over to division of algebraic expressions. Division of algebraic expression is again performed similar to the arithmetic operation. Now let's take an example where we are dividing a square plus ab plus b square by a plus b. So again, you know, the concept that dividend is equal to divisor multiplied by quotient plus remainder remains the same both for the arithmetic division and for algebraic division. So now in the shown division, we see that a plus b is the divisor and a square plus ab plus b square is the dividend here. Now when we start performing the division, we multiply this with a, we multiply the divisor with a, and it becomes a square plus ab, and this we put just below the dividend, just below the respective term of the dividend, and then we subtract whatever we get as whatever we get after multiplying a plus b with a from that part of the dividend, and we get the next term of the dividend down, and here we get b square, which becomes the remainder in this case, whereas a is the quotient. Now let's look at a more complex division to be performed. Now let's take an example where we have the dividend as 4x square plus 3xy plus 2y square plus 5, and the divisor as 2x plus 3y. Let's try and see what will we do in this case of division. To find the first term of the quotient, we take the first term divisor and see what should be multiplied to it to get the first term of the dividend. So in this case, we know that first term of the divisor is 2x and first term of the dividend is 4x square. So we first see what is to be multiplied with 2x so that we get 4x square, and that clearly is 2x. So now first of all, before we proceed with this long division method of algebraic expressions, first thing that we need to understand is that we need to arrange the dividend as well as the divisor polynomial in the decreasing order of the terms. If more than one term have the same degree, then the terms are arranged in decreasing order of the first variable. Say for example, in our case, the dividend here is x square, the first term of degree 2, then 3xy, which is again degree 2, 2y square, which is again degree 2. So if we were to divide it with 2x plus y, we'll first arrange it in this sequence where the highest exponent of x is taken as the first term, then the reducing exponent of x would be taken as the consecutive term. So this is the first rule before performing with the division. And we need to arrange the divisor also in a similar way, so that if we are arranging the highest exponent of x as the first term in dividend, we will arrange the highest exponent of x in the divisor also as the first term. So now that we've found the first factor to be multiplied, so we found that 2x plus y needs to be multiplied by 2x to get the first term 4x square. So we write 2x in the quotient part of the of this long division, and then we multiply 2x with whole 2x plus y to get 4x square plus 2xy, and then we place these terms below the respective terms of the dividend. Now we subtract and we see that 4x square completely gets cancelled out with 4x square, and 2xy is to be subtracted from 3xy. We get xy down, and we get this 2y square term along with it. So it becomes, now in this case, the dividend now at this stage of division becomes xy plus 2y square. So we again see what is to be multiplied with 2x so as to get xy, and that is half y. So we multiply the same way and we get half y. We multiply half y with 2x plus y, we get xy plus half y square. And we now again see that xy get cancelled out, and we subtract half y square from 2y square to get 3 by 2y square, and we again get this term 5 down here. And now if we see, we know that now the division cannot be carried out any longer when the exponent of the first variable in the difference, which is this, is less than that of divisor. Now why do we say the exponent is less? Because we're not talking about the exponent of a variable y, we're talking about the exponent for variable x, because the first term in the divisor contains the variable x. So now the exponent of x in this difference is 0, which is less than the exponent in the divisor. So now we cannot perform the division anymore. So 3 by 2y square plus 5 becomes the remainder. 2x plus y obviously remains the divisor. 2x plus half y becomes the quotient in this case, and that's how we get the quotient and the remainder. Now let's move on to some identities. First of all, let's understand what are identities. Any equality which is true for all values of the variable is called an identity. So will it always be true? How do we know that? Now let's take an example where we multiply x plus 1 with x plus 2, and we get x square plus 3x plus 2. Now if we want to see whether this x plus 1 multiplied by x plus 2 will always be equal to x square plus 3x plus 2, let's try and put different values of x and see if it is always true. So for x is equal to 1, we see the left hand side becomes equal to 6 and the right hand side also becomes equal to 6. For x is equal to 2, the left hand side becomes 3 multiplied by 4 equal to 12, and so does the right hand side also become equal to 12. For x is equal to minus 1, the left hand side is 0 and so is the right hand side. For x is equal to minus 2, again the left hand side is 0 and so is the right hand side. And we can continue with many different values of x, in fact any value that you choose to take. So, and we'll get the right hand side to be equal to left hand side always. So that means this equality is always true for all values of variables. So this is an identity. Now the important point here is, if this is an identity, we can get infinite number of such identities by just multiplying 2 or more polynomials on the left hand side. See, if you go to the previous one and if you see x plus 1 multiplied by x plus 2 is equal to x squared plus 3x plus 2 is simply a multiplication performed on 2 polynomials, and whatever is the result will always be true. So you could get any number of such identities by putting 2 or more polynomials on the left hand side and the multiplied result, or you could say the final product polynomial on the right hand side. Now the important thing is, if we can get infinite number of such identities, what is the need to talk about them? What is so special about them? Let's understand what is so special about them. Yes, there are certain standard identities which we commonly use for algebraic expression simplification and arithmetic calculations. So that is where the identities become important. Now we could create the infinite number of such identities, but there are certain standard identities which we generally use going forward in all the simplifications and calculations related to algebraic expressions as well as in arithmetic calculations. We'll see how do we do that. Now first, let's see some of the standard identities. Now we'll take first of all some of the identities based on the squares. So first is a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. Now this is simply by multiplying a plus b with another a plus b. These two polynomials, if you multiply, you'll get a square plus b square plus 2ab. Similarly, a minus b whole square will become a square plus b square minus 2ab. A square minus b square is equal to a plus b into a minus b. So you could try all of these using the simple multiplication of the polynomial things we just talked about, and then you'll see that these identities are coming out to be true. A plus b whole square plus a minus b whole square will become twice of a square plus b square. A plus b whole square minus a minus b whole square will become 4ab. Now some of the identities which are based on cubes. A plus b whole cube is equal to a cube plus b cube plus 3ab into a plus b. Now this is again, it's simple to see how do we get these results. If you multiply a plus b into a plus b into a plus b, and if you just try and open it, you could first do a plus b into a plus b and then get the product and then multiply it with another a plus b, and you'll get this identity to be true. And a minus b whole cube is equal to a cube minus b cube minus 3ab into a minus b. A cube minus b cube is equal to a minus b into a square plus b square plus ab. A cube plus b cube is equal to a plus b into a square plus b square minus ab. So again, these are some of the identities, and there are some more standard identities that we'll do in the higher classes. So we need to remember these identities. Now we'll see the usage of the identity. So we just talked about, there could be infinite number of identities, but then there are certain standard identities that we need to remember. So now let's see, why do we need to remember them and what is the actual usage of these identities? Now if I am given to calculate 5.1 whole square, what is this? Of course, I can do the simple calculation by multiplying 5.1 by 5.1, but that would be a longer approach. That would be more time consuming, cumbersome approach to calculate that. So we'll see how using the identities we could do it in a much simpler and faster way. So if we could write 5.1 as 5 plus 0.1 whole square, then we could use the identity a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab, and using that identity we make it as 5 square and then 0.1 square, and then we have 2ab, which is 2 into 5 into 0.1, and that result becomes 25 plus 0.01 plus 1, and that's 26.01. So if you see this is much faster approach of calculating 5.1 whole square instead of doing a standard calculation. Now if supposing we have to calculate 296 multiplied by 304, of course you could do a simple arithmetic multiplication to do it, but let's see using the identity some simpler and faster way of calculating this. So now we could write 296 as 300 minus 4, and we could write 300 as 300 plus 4. Now if you look at it closely, it is 300 minus 4 multiplied by 300 plus 4, which is equivalent to saying it is equal to a minus b into a plus b, where a is 300 and b is 4. So using that identity, we make it equal to 300 square minus 4 square, which is equal to 90,000 minus 16, and the result becomes 89,984. Now let's look at some more usage of identities. If you were to calculate 103 square minus 97 square, looking at obviously 103 square would be a cumbersome and time consuming process. Same would be true for 97 square. So let's see if we could do something better to do to calculate this faster. We could use some of the identities. Now looking at the numbers itself, one thing we can definitely make out is both the numbers are of the type a plus b and a minus b, where a would be 100 and b would be 3. One is 100 plus 3, the other is 100 minus 3. So let's see if we could use some identity from that. Now we can clearly make it 100 plus 3 square minus 100 minus 3 square. So we know that the identity says a plus b whole square minus a minus b whole square is equal to 4ab. So that makes it equal to 4 into 100 into 3, and that's 1200. That's so simple to calculate. Now if we were to calculate 99 cube, how do we do that? Now again, using the arithmetic way of doing it would be more cumbersome. So let's make it 100 minus 1 whole cube, and can we use that identity which says that a minus b whole cube is equal to a cube minus b cube minus 3ab into a minus b, which makes it 100 cube minus 1 cube minus 3 into 100 into 1 into 100 minus 1, which makes it 10 lakh minus 1 minus 300 into 99, which is again 10 lakh minus 1 minus 29,700, and that's so easy to calculate. It becomes 9,70,299 is the answer. So it's so much faster to calculate it this way. Now let's move on to the quiz on algebraic expressions. First of all, simplify 1 plus x into x square plus 1 into x raised to power 4 plus 1 into 1 minus x, and here are the options. The second question to be done is, which of these is not a term in the product of x plus 1 into 2x plus 1 and 3x squared? So these are the three polynomials which needs to be multiplied, and you need to tell which of the options is not a term in the product. So here are the options. Now coming to the last question on algebraic expressions. We need to find the value of xy if 3x plus 4y is equal to 6 root 3 and 3x minus 4y is equal to 6. And here are the options. Now let's look at the solution for these questions. First one was simplify this expression. Now first of all, we'll rearrange this, because we know that 1 plus x and 1 minus x, if we put them together, we can probably use an identity. So we rearrange to bring them together. We make it 1 plus x into 1 minus x into x squared plus 1 into x raised to power 4 plus 1. So now it becomes 1 minus x square, and now since we know that if we want to use some identity, this x square plus 1 should also be of the form 1 plus x square, so that we can use identity of the type a minus b and a plus b. So we first of all, for first two terms using the identity, we make it as 1 minus x square, and then the third term we rearrange to make it 1 plus x square, and then the fourth term we keep like that. And this again, using the same identity, it becomes 1 minus x raised to power 4 into, again we rearrange it here to 1 plus x raised to power 4, and now again using the same identity, it becomes 1 minus x raised to power 8. So that's the final answer for the question, which is the option D. Looking at the solution for the next question, we need to find the product of first of these three polynomials, and then we'll see which of these is not a term in this product. So let's put them together. I'm placing them without a multiplication sign because that's not really required. So let's first multiply the first two polynomials, x plus 1 multiplied by 2x plus 1. So again, the simple standard way of doing it is each term multiplied by each term of the second polynomial. So we multiply x with 2x plus 1, and we multiply 1 with 2x plus 1. So we get 2x square plus 2x plus x plus 1, and multiply it with 3x square. So simplifying the first term, it becomes first polynomial, it becomes 2x square plus 3x plus 1, and multiply this with 3x square, and we get the final answer as 6x raised to power 4 plus 9x cube plus 3x square. So we can clearly see that 6x square is not a term in the final product. So option C is the correct answer. Now the solution to the last question, we have to find the value of xy if these two polynomials are given. So now one approach would have been to find out the value of, to solve these linear equations, to find out the value of x and to find out the value of y, and then you multiply the two to get the final value of xy. But let's see how do we use the identity and to make it simpler and calculate the value of xy directly. So we know that a plus b whole square minus a minus b whole square is equal to 4ab, and we also know, looking at the question, that these two expressions are of the type a plus b and a minus b. So we use this identity here and we say a plus b whole square minus a minus b whole square is equal to 4ab, so which essentially means 3x plus 4y whole square minus 3x minus 4y whole square is equal to 6 root 3 whole square minus 6 square. So now on the left hand side, this becomes equal to 4 into 3x into 4y, which is 24xy, and on the right hand side it becomes equal to 108 minus 36. So 24xy is equal to 72, and xy becomes equal to 3, and that is what we needed to calculate. So option B is the correct answer here. Friends, I hope you enjoyed the session. If you find it useful, please like it and share it with your friends. You can visit us at our Cool Smart Learning website and post your queries there. And please subscribe to the Cool Smart Learning channel for getting updates on the new sessions. Thank you.